Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, old Detroit Lions, friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. So as I just literally got done with the live stream for the game, I said I was going to instantaneously start working on this show, and not a liar, because that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I've been saying it for the last 4 weeks. And every single week it has happened. It has gotten even more evident. It has gotten even more self-aware that Hendon Hooker, I said this on my live stream. I don't say it very often, if at all. But in this case, I have no other reason but to say it. Hendon Hooker sucks. He sucks. And I hate to say that about a player, but it's like, listen, you take a look at all the evidence that has been manifested, that has been made very painfully and plainly obvious after watching these preseason games. Hendon Hooker cannot play football. He cannot play football for the Detroit Lions. I don't even know if he can play football at an NFL level because, again, as I've said before, when you take a look at how NFL offenses play now, they play in a West Coast style offense, which is based on timing, it's based on precision, it's based on chemistry, it's based upon having everything set down like a finely tuned watch. Hendon Hooker does not play that way. He has never played that way. Even when he was at college, he didn't play that way. He came from a non-pro system, a spread system, where everything is set upon the quarterback throwing to these wide-open zone holes, and there's no need for precision, there's no need for timing. It's just, hey, find the open zone, find the open receiver, and throw the ball. And as we have seen very, very clearly this preseason, it does not work with how the Lions run their offense. Because freaking Hendon Hooker has been atrocious. Dismally bad. Just absolutely putrid. I'm going to put this up on the screen just so that way you guys can see exactly what I mean. If you take a look at all 4 games that Hendon Hooker has played, whether as the third string quarterback or as a second string quarterback, which means he'd be the starter for the preseason, in the first game, the Hall of Fame game, he was 3 of 6 for 50%, 18 passing yards, 3 and average to throw, no touchdowns, and interception for 16.7 passer rating. The second game, against the Falcons, probably his best game all preseason. 7 of 10 for 70% completion rate, 38 passing yards, 3.8 an average to throw, no touchdowns, no picks with 76.2 passer rating, but had 2 lost fumbles. The game against the Dolphins, 6 of 13 for 46.2%, 61 passing touchdowns, 4.7 an average to throw, no touchdowns, 1 interception, 28.0 passer rating. The last game, the game we just got done with against the Texans, 6 of 11 for 54.5 completion percent, 70 passing yards, 6.4 an average to throw, no touchdowns, 1 interception with a 36.2 passer rating. I mean, dude, you don't have to be a whiz to understand football to understand what those stats tell you. They're horrible. They're god-awful. That is just putrid. That makes Nathan Peterman look good. And Nathan Peterman has been largely regarded as one of the worst quarterbacks in the current NFL right now. I mean, dude, it's so bad. It is so bad that I literally had this conversation in a text block with somebody on one of my videos. And I literally compiled all the numbers together during that. And that was a week ago. But when you put all of the passing statistics and everything together that Hendon Hooker has done over the course of this preseason, this is what you get as a stat line. Remember this. This is the stat line. Hendon Hooker, over 4 preseason games with the Detroit Lions, either as the starter with the second stringers or the backup with the third stringers, 22 of 40 for 55 completion percentage rate, 187 total passing yards, 4.7 an average a throw, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions with a 36.2 passer rating, and also 2 lost fumbles. Dude. When you take a look at that, that is just god-awful. That's not second-string quarterback material. That's not even third-string quarterback material. That makes Tim Boyle look good. That is horrible. You have 5 turnovers in 4 preseason games. 5. And some of the absolute worst interceptions I've ever seen a quarterback throw. Ball is sailed. Ball is going into directions it shouldn't go. The only interception where I can give Hendon Hooker a pass was that very first one that he threw against the Chargers where, hey, you know what? Meek should have come down with the ball. But other than that, it's like, okay, you take that one off, it's still not good. There's no way you can justify it. And if you want to say, well, you know, Hendon Hooker can still run the ball. He's still a threat on the ground. Okay, yeah, he is. But there's another problem there. When is this guy going to learn to slide? Every freaking time we've seen him try to run, he doesn't slide. He literally goes head first into a pile, and it's like, dude, that's quarterback 101. If you're going to run, slide. Protect yourself. Give yourself up. The rules are made specifically to protect you. Why are you putting yourself in harm's way? And yet this guy is not learning. He's not learning. It's like, dude, he's actively choosing not to do it. Perfect example. You go back to the end of the game against the Texans. It's 4th and 7, 4th and 8. It's a gotta-have-it play. You've got to convert this in order to keep the drive alive, to just try and get some points on the board. Put a little window dressing out there. Maybe make your position look a little bit better. And on 4th and 7, what does this fool try to do? He tries to run. He surveys the field maybe 1-2 seconds, and then he tries to bolt out of the pocket. Runs right into the defensive lineman, gets sacked. That's it. Done. Absolutely no awareness of what was necessary for him to do in that play. It's like, listen, the absolute last thing you can do on a 4th down is take a freaking sack. And especially not when you run right into the defensive lineman. Say what you want about the offensive line, could have protected better, but whatever. I don't care. The point of the matter is that the 1 square foot of real estate up here in Hendon Hooker's cranium, it's not processing the way it needs to when he's out on the field. Bad decisions in terms of not sliding, bad decisions in terms of throws, bad decisions in terms of reads, just not there. And it's perfectly justifiable to feel that way. It's perfectly justifiable to think that way because take a look at the guy he's been playing opposite of. Take a look at the guy that he's been in direct competition with over the entire course of the preseason. A guy that we literally signed a couple of months ago and has shown complete control and command of this offense versus a guy in Hendon Hooker who's been here for the last 2 years as being able to physically do everything and still cannot, under any circumstances, show that he understands what he needs to do. In the 4 games that Kyle Allen has played for the Detroit Lions, either as the starter with the second stringers or as the backup, which think about that, Kyle Allen started 3 of the 4 games, backed up in only 1. Kyle Allen did this. 35 of 44 for 401 yards, 79.5 completion percentage, I forgot to mention there for a brief moment, 9.1 an average to throw, 5 passing touchdowns and 2 interceptions with a 126.6 passer rating. For a guy who's literally only been here a couple of months to come in and learn this complex offense, to have the command, the control, and the faith and belief from the players that, hey, when Kyle is out there, we are going to be able to make something happen because this guy knows what the hell he's doing. You complete almost 80% of your passes. You're completing it for 10 yards a pop almost. You have a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, and you almost have 130 passer rating? And you've only been here a couple of months? Dude, unbelievable. But what makes it even worse is in the last 3 preseason games, Kyle Allen has been absolutely almost flawless. And I literally do mean that. Almost flawless. In games 2, 3, and 4 for the Detroit Lions. You want to know what Kyle Allen's stat line is? 26 of 30, 86.7 completion percentage rate, 310 passing yards, 10.3 in average a throw, 5 passing touchdowns to 0 interceptions, 149.3 passer rating. Say what you want about how you're not impressed with Kyle Allen. Say you don't think he can do the job. When you post 149.3 passer rating over 3 games, 5 touchdowns, no picks, with a damn near 90% completion percentage rate, I don't know how you can't be impressed with that. He doesn't have to be the most flashy guy in the world. Case in point, oh, that's right, neither is Jared Goff. But ain't nobody going to say that he's not impressive. Guy goes out and freaking completes 72.4% of his passes over the course of an entire regular season, 37 passing touchdowns, 8.6 in average a throw. You don't have to be flashy to be impressive. You can be dull as freaking, paint drying, and you can still be impressive. Because let me put it out there, nobody thinks that a Picasso is, necessarily a flashy painting, but it sure as hell is impressive, hence the reason why the price tags are the way they are on those paintings. That's my whole point. When people want to talk about backup quarterbacks, they're like, oh, he's got to be impressive. By impressive, do you mean the ability to actually play the position well, or do you mean does he have to be flashy? Do you mean that he actually has to excite you? Because, oh yeah, you know what? If you want to talk about excitement, Hendon Hooker can do that. He's exciting as the day is long, especially for opposing defensive coordinators, because, we know we're going to at least get a turnover or 2 off of him. Going to happen. No case, there's no doubt about that. Like I said, when you turn the ball 5 times over in literally 4 games, you're going to get a turnover. Whether it's a bad throw for an interception or it's going to be a lost fumble. One of those 2 things is going to happen. But if you want to talk about impressive but not flashy, I will take Kyle Allen every day, twice on Sunday, well before I would ever even consider touching Hendon Hooker. I wouldn't touch Hendon Hooker with a 10-foot pole in comparison to Kyle Allen. That's how just vast the difference is between how these 2 guys have performed within this system. And again, people are going to say, well, Kyle Allen's just gotten more opportunities to work with the number 2s, and Hendon Hooker hasn't. Okay, that's true, but why? Why has that been the case? I'll tell you why. Because Hendon Hooker has not shown that he deserves to work with the number 2s. You have to earn it. You have to deserve it. You have to show it. What has been the same thought process, the same mindset, the same message that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have said about every player? They have to go out and they have to show that they've earned that job. They have to go out and show that they are dependable for being in that job. When you have a quarterback in Hendon Hooker that has a 36.2 passer rating, 36.2, 5 turnovers in 4 games, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, isn't even completing 60% of his passes over the course of those 4 games. Does that speak dependable to you? Does that speak trustworthy to you? Does that speak as if somebody should have faith in that person? I'll tell you this, it sure as hell doesn't speak that to me. What that tells me is, man, you probably better playing off in the UFL or, collecting an unemployment check. That's what that tells me. And again, this is a guy that came out of college with so much hype and expectation. Not only has he not even come close to living up to the expectation and hype, he has failed so miserably that even as a 3rd-round draft pick, he's a bust. I only typically put that bust label on somebody that's a 1st-round draft pick, maybe a high 2nd-round draft pick. But for all of the hype, for all of the pomp, for all of the circumstance that Hendon Hooker had coming out of college, there were so many analysts that thought, man, the Lions got a steal getting Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round because this guy could have been a 1st-round draft pick if not for the injury. I don't think the injury made a damn bit of difference in the evaluation measure because it's like, listen, when a 3rd-round draft pick is with an offense like the Lions, which, again, it's a quarterback-friendly offense. Quarterback-friendly. Jared Goff has thrown 4,000-plus passing yards over the last 3 years. Has thrown damn near 30 passing touchdowns over the last 3 years. The only year it didn't count was in 2022 where he threw 29, so he was 1 off. You want to try and tell me that it's the offense? You want to try and tell me that it's the coaches not doing their job? The coaches have given everything they can to freaking Hendon Hooker to prove that he should be the number 2 quarterback. They've given him chance after chance after chance after chance and have virtually gotten bub-kissed from him. It's an embarrassment. That's why my title is exactly the way it is. The Detroit Lions and the Detroit Lions' faith in Hendon Hooker, it's no longer justified. You cannot justify holding on to this guy anymore. The entire thing that we've been hearing this entire preseason is that it's going to be hard to make decisions during roster cuts because the roster is so talented. You cannot hold on to a guy like Hendon Hooker who has performed so miserably when you've got other guys that have performed so well and deserve a roster spot. Just because Hendon Hooker's a third-round draft pick and just because he has promise doesn't mean that he should get a spot automatically over somebody else. It's like, listen, how have you actually performed? Let me ask you this question. Do you think that Hendon Hooker should get a spot over Robert Meeks? Do you think that, Hendon Hooker should get a roster spot over Strickland? No. Absolutely not. Do you think that Hendon Hooker should get a roster spot over Grant Stewart? No. I'm going to say this right now. The only way that Hendon Hooker finds his way to stay with the Detroit Lions is if the Lions decide to bring him back as a practice squad player. That's it. That is it. Because I'm telling you this right now, with the roster being as competitive as it is, with, the Lions trying to make sure they have the best 53 men on their roster, there's no way Hendon Hooker makes the roster. Absolutely none. I will be shocked. I will fall flat on my butt in just pure shock, surprise, amazement, whatever term you'd like to use. Because for a team that has simply said from day one, that it is about your ability to perform, it's about your ability to showcase what you can do out on the field, Hendon Hooker has showcased time and again he cannot be trusted as a number 2 quarterback. And at this point, he cannot be trusted as a number 3 quarterback. And I'm going to say this right now. I told you so. And I don't mean to sound arrogant about it, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I'm not because I'm the one that's been saying it for the last 3 years. Hendon Hooker is not going to work in the NFL. Came into the NFL way too old, came into the NFL from a non-pro offense, was never going to work. And we've literally seen how where Hendon Hooker started out with all of the expectation, pomp, circumstance, as I said earlier, it has not only just gradually fallen off, it has nosedived like the freaking 1929 stock market. It is not even below expectations. It has fallen so far below, it might as well be in the proverbial and literal crapper. That is where Hendon Hooker's stock is right now. And what it means, I'm going to tell you this right now. For Brad Holmes, it means back to the drawing board. You are going to have to find somebody else to be your backup quarterback long term because Hendon Hooker sure as hell ain't it. I would think that the Lions are going to bring back Kyle Allen next year, but it's like, dude, you got to find somebody to be your long-term backup quarterback because Hendon Hooker, he ain't it. He is not it. And I don't think even if the Lions bring him back for practice squad, it's going to make a damn bit of difference. He's had 2 years working behind Goff, working behind Teddy Bridgewater, working with the number 2s, working with the number 3s, working with Mark Brunell, Ben Johnson, now Johnny Morton, and it's not made a damn bit of difference. So what the hell damn difference do you think it's going to make if he's the practice squad quarterback? The only difference him being the practice squad quarterback is going to make as a positive impact for our team is when we have to play against quarterbacks that are mobile. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're going to use him as an ability measure, to try and mimic guys like Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow or Josh Allen, no freaking way. Good freaking luck. Because it's not even comparable. It's not even in the same galaxy, the same universe. That's the problem here. That is why the Lions cannot justify keeping Hendon Hooker. There's no faith that can be made for him anymore. There's no case that can be made for him anymore. I'm going to tell you this right now. You want to know what the equal parallel here is for Hendon Hooker? It's what just happened with freaking Anthony Richardson in the Colts. They drafted him in the first round over the objections of a lot of people who said he's not ready to be a first-round draft pick. But somebody in that organization was willing to stand out on a ledge, willing to stand up and say, I believe in this guy. And what happens? They bring in a guy, Daniel Jones, a guy who was laughed out of the New York Giants, and they say, yeah, sorry, Anthony, we're going with Daniel. We trust him more than we trust you. That is literally the same parallel, reasoning I can say as to what is going to about to happen to Hendon Hooker. Because I'm telling you this right now, I cannot see how Hendon Hooker is going to make it past roster cuts. I just can't see it, not with how talented this roster is. There's just no way. Because if he does make it past it, it's like, than everything the Lions have told us as far as how they maintain their business, you instantly now have to question. You have to ask the question, how did a player like Hendon Hooker, who has performed so poorly, get on this roster when there are other guys who have busted their ass to showcase what they can do? And especially, it would make it even worse if somebody like a Robert Meeks, a Grant Stewart, or somebody else that is absolutely earned a chance to be on this roster gets cut and he doesn't. That's what I'm trying to say here. But I'm going to end this because I could go on this for at least another 10 minutes. So, having said that, I'm going to say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage you all to watch the next episode. Also, if you enjoyed the content, you like the content, and you have not subscribed, I hope to gain your subscription. But if you just subscribed, or you've subscribed in the past, and you've not yet hit the bell notification icon, so that way you never miss any more, content that I push out, please, by all means, hit that bell notification icon, so that way you never do miss any more content. Hope y'all are having something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.